yeah, that's not the way to set up camp. Hey guys, Justin with Backyard Bushcraft. So in this week's Bushcraft Essentials video, I'm going to go over some of the most important knots that every bushcrafter needs to know. I'll show you not only how to tie them, but why they're essential, when I use them, and obviously when you shouldn't use them. The bowline knot is often referred to as the king of knots, and for good reason. It gives you a fixed loop at the end of your cordage. It will not slip under load, and more importantly, we use it. It's perfect for making your ridgeline for when you're setting up your tarp shelter. The first key thing you need to remember with your bowline knot is how big of a loop you need to make. So if you're going to need a large loop and you have a long piece of cordage, you're going to want to start your loop somewhere in the middle of that rope or that piece of cordage. For our scenario right now, we're going to make a loop about the size of our fist so we can put our fist through it, because we're going to use this cordage to start our ridgeline for a tarp setup. Okay, so like I said, to start your bowline knot, here is your working end. This is going to be your standing end. You're going to want to go somewhere between 12 to 18 inches down your cordage, because you want to be able to put your fist through the knot that you're going to make. Very simply, you're going to take your working end and you're just going to fold it on top of your standing end. One of the simplest ways to not mess this knot up is to make sure you're not going to make this loop too big. You want it to be about the size of a dime, maybe a nickel, nothing bigger. You don't want something to look like this, okay? You want a nice, clean little loop that you can work with, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. Very important to remember. You're going to take your working end here. You're going to come up through that loop that you made. Okay, you're now creating your bowline knot. Very simple. And this is why you want to keep this loop small, because you don't want to confuse it with the actual bowline loop that you're about to make. Okay, so you're going to come through your loop. You're going to come under your standing end. Come under, okay? And then you're going to go right back into that little loop that you made earlier. Very easy. You're going to grab onto that. You're going to pull the loop and the standing end, and you're going to have yourself a bowline knot. And you should be able to put your fist through that loop. Okay, so the second knot we're going to talk about tonight is the Prusik knot, okay? This is my go-to knot when it comes to tightening my tarp to my ridgeline. You're going to need a second piece of cordage for this tied into a loop, all right? Very simple how to tie this knot. You're going to hang this in front of your ridgeline, okay? And you're going to wrap this around your ridgeline 3 times. And you're going to try to keep your wraps as clean as possible. So here's 1, okay? And then the same loop, we're just going to go around 3 more times. Here's 2. And we're going to do it 1 more time for a total of 3 wraps. All right, and we're going to keep these as clean and as neat as possible, just like that. Now, this is a friction knot, okay? And what that means is, while this has no tension on it, you will be able to slide this along your ridgeline very, very easily, okay? But as soon as you put a little tension on it, you will not be able to slide this down your ridgeline at all until there's no more tension on it, and then we can go right back to sliding this bad boy down our ridgeline. So the next knot we're going to talk about is the Clove Hitch. Simple, fast, and versatile, right? Great for temporarily attaching your rope to a pole. We start all of our lashings with a Clove Hitch. We end all of our lashings with a Clove Hitch. But here's the catch with the Clove Hitch. It can slip if it's not under constant tension. So I wouldn't use it to secure anything too critical. But simple camp gadgets, our lashings, our temporary lashings, things of that nature. It's an excellent knot, and it's definitely a must-have and must-know for bushcrafting. Okay, and to simply tie the clove hitch, you're going to take whatever the stick, the pole, whatever it is you're tying your cordage off to, and you're going to come around your pole. You're going to make an X with your rope, just like that. So you're left with something that looks like that. And then on your second wrap around, you're just going to come right back underneath that X that you made. And there you have a very simple clove hitch. So that's going to wrap it up for me today, guys. Like I said, in this series, we're going to try to follow what we left off from the week before. The 3 most commonly used knots while you're out bushcrafting or camping: the Bowline, the Prusik, and the Clove Hitch. Simple, easy to use, and very effective when used correctly. Just a little side note, I have a trucker's hitch video. I'll put a link in this video right now. I highly recommend checking it out. It is one of my favorite knots to use when it comes to setting up a tarp system, especially on a ridgeline. So be sure to check that out. But hopefully you learned something today. If you did, great. Drop me a line in the comments. Let me know what your favorite knot to use is while you're outside. But if you did like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and more importantly, ring that bell so you're notified every time I make a new video. I really appreciate you checking me out today. This is Justin with Backyard Bushcraft, signing out.